Thanks so much for watching AM Northwest. Our next guest was a college student in Utah waiting at a bus stop when an attractive man offered her a ride. That man was serial killer Ted Bundy. Here with her gripping story, we welcome the author of I Survived Ted Bundy, Rhonda Stapley. Good to have you with us, Rhonda. First of all,
thank you.
And I know this isn't easy for you because you're basically a shy person. But let's go back to that day, 1974. You're standing at the bus stop. You're a pharmacy student.
I was a pharmacy student at the university.
Where were you going?
I had been downtown to a dentist appointment. I had new hiking boots that day, and I wanted to break them in. And there's a little city park about a mile from the dentist office, so I thought I would walk over there and break in the shoes.
And then tell me what happened as you're waiting at the bus stop.
I was waiting at the bus stop. It wasn't coming. It was late, delayed for some reason. I waited long enough for 2 or 3 buses to have come, and none of them were coming. And then this tan Volkswagen drove by, and drove by really slow, and then it stopped and kind of backed up a little bit. Q driver leaned over and rolled down the passenger window and asked me where I was going. I told him I'm going up to the university, and he said, "Me too, hop in." And this was 1974 in Salt Lake City, Utah. It did not seem scary.
No, it wasn't. At 1974, it was you could hitch a ride and not have a problem.
Yeah, it just felt like a college student helping a college student.
When did you realize something was amiss?
In the first couple blocks, he took a detour. Wasn't going the normal way up to the university, and I questioned him about that. Said, "This isn't the road that I would have taken." And he reassured me, told me that he had a small errand to run up by the zoo, and would I mind if he ran this short errand? And I didn't, because I'd still be home faster than if I'd waited for the bus that wasn't ever coming. And so then I relaxed a little, and we just had a nice car ride up a canyon and down another canyon, and then we got out of that canyon. It was starting to get evening, towards evening. Sun was setting, the city looked nice, and we were just kind of going for a car ride. And we should have turned right to go back to campus, and instead he turned left, and we were driving up another canyon. And that's when it started feeling strange. He stopped talking to me and was just, both hands on the steering wheel, just driving. And I was still trying to make nervous conversation, and he wasn't contributing to the conversation anymore. And he started kind of looking at side roads and picnic areas as we drove past them, looking for turnouts, and I had the feeling that he's probably wants to stop and make out, and I wasn't really a make out girl.
Right.
But
you were raised Mormon.
I was raised LDS, yes, and had never really dated very much anyway, and trying to just make shy, nervous conversation, trying to figure out how to get out of parking with this guy. And I'd been to the dentist, and my mouth was sore. I didn't think
you
kissing.
Had stitches.
I had stitches in my mouth, and I didn't think that kissing would be a good idea, and I didn't really know him.
Right.
And so I'm trying to figure out how to gracefully get out of that situation without embarrassing or insulting either of us. And then he pulled into a picnic area and pulled back into the trees a ways and parked the car. And then he turned in his seat, so he was almost facing me, and leaned in really close. I thought that he was going to kiss me, and instead he said, "Do you know what? I'm going to kill you."
Oh my.
And he put his hands on my throat and started squeezing.
And during the time that he was assaulting you, attacking you, raping you, he tried to kill you several times and revive you. You woke up quite a few times with him slapping your face.
I did. He enjoyed the process of watching me die. So he would strangle me to the point of unconsciousness and then let me have air and revive me.
At what point did you see a chance to get out of this? And you must have been in so much pain and in disbelief.
And numb and deprived of oxygen and all of that stuff. But I came to the last time that I regained consciousness.
He did this to you 5 times, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I came to, I was laying on the ground in the canyon, and he had moved away from me a ways over to the car, and the dome light in the car was on because the door was open. He was standing by the passenger door, reaching in the back seat doing something, and I had 30 feet between me and him, pitch black night, but I didn't really plan anything. I just jumped and ran. My pants were around my ankles, so I couldn't really run. I tripped at the very first step, but fortunately, or intervention from above, or for some reason I tripped and fell into a fast-moving mountain river that swept me away from my attacker and probably saved my life.
Wow. And when you came out of the river, what did you do?
I said to myself, wow, nobody better ever know if this happened to me. I can never let anyone know. I'm going to keep this secret. And I just rearranged my clothes as best as I could and walked home.
And nobody at home knew what had happened to you?
Nobody knows. I had college roommates, and I didn't explain it to them. I didn't tell my family. I didn't go to the police. I just went home and thought I just want to pretend it never happened.
And why did you want to pretend it didn't happen?
I felt embarrassed and stupid.
Stupid because you got in the car?
Stupid because I should have known better than to get into a car with a stranger, and stupid for not having him let me out when we got to the zoo. He said we were going to the zoo, and we went right on past the zoo. I should have gotten out then. That should have been a warning. And
you kept secret about this for years, decades, 37 years. When you finally decided to talk, why did you decide to talk?
Because of post-traumatic stress disorder. My life was fine. I went on with my life, had a nice career and a family.
You got married?
Married, had 2 daughters. I've got grandchildren now. And an incident happened at work that reminded me of all of that stuff and made it all come pouring back, and I found myself in a PTSD kind of crisis, having flashbacks and panic attacks and smelling things and tasting things that just too much triggering, and I just decided that I didn't actually decide to tell anybody then. I just decided that I needed to fix it somehow myself. And so I heard a little story about Abraham Lincoln. He had told one of his friends who was complaining to him, telling him that they'd seen that neighbor is, I'm so mad at my neighbor, cows are getting in my yard and stuff. And so I've written him a really long letter. I really told him off, and Abraham Lincoln said, good job, but now tear it up. That made you feel better to write this little story. And so I thought, well, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could just write down what happened and then tear it up, and then it'll go away and get it out of my mind again. And that's why it ended up being a book.
And so that's why you decided to tell you. When you first noticed news stories about Ted Bundy, did it hit you, this is the same guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I knew it was the same guy, and I felt guilty. I felt like it was my fault that those other women had died, and I felt guilty for not coming forward, but I didn't know of a reason to come forward, because all it would do was put me in the spotlight and make me tell people what had happened. And
there was one other survivor too, a woman who escaped, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was Carol Durant. She actually escaped as soon as she got into the car, so she wasn't really assaulted.
And amazing that you survived. He admitted to killing at least 30 people that we know of. I can't thank you enough for telling your story. I want to tell folks again, the book is titled I Survived Ted Bundy. Rhonda Stapley, thank you very much. Books at all the usual bookstores. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.
Trending.
They are some of the hottest videos